Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. We're about to break down one of the absolute biggest ideas in all of economics, choice. And believe it or not, we're going to do it with a simple story about an island, some coconuts, and a really tough decision. So what's the connection? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental economic principle, scarcity. It's this simple, really. You just can't have everything you want all at the same time. And to really get our heads around this, we've got to explore how every single choice we make has a kind of hidden price tag. All right, so let's meet our main character, Danny. He's living the dream on a tropical island. Or is he? You're about to see that even in what looks like paradise, he's facing some seriously tough economic calls every single day. And by watching him, we're going to build a whole economy right from the ground up. Okay, so here are the ground rules for Danny's world. It's pretty straightforward. He's got 10 hours each day to work. That's it. And in those 10 hours, he can either gather coconuts or he can catch fish. But here's the kicker. He can't do both at the same time. Every hour he decides to go fishing is an hour he's not gathering coconuts. That resource, his time, is totally fixed. All right, let's get specific and put some numbers on this. We can see here that in any given hour, Danny can catch exactly 2 fish. Or, if he switches tasks, he can gather 5 coconuts. These numbers, how productive he is, well, they're basically the building blocks for his entire little island economy. So let's think about this. If Danny decides to go all out on fishing for his 10-hour day, what's the max he can get? 20 fish, right? And if he goes all in on coconuts, 50 coconuts. These 2 points, they're like the absolute edges of his world. Everything he can possibly produce falls somewhere on or inside the line that connects them. And there's a fancy name for this. Economists call it the production possibility curve, or PPC. So, right now, Danny's world is pretty limited. He's stuck inside that boundary we just talked about. But what if he gets tired of those limits? What happens when a really clever idea, that little spark of innovation, suddenly changes the whole game? Okay, so picture this. Danny's out there, trying to catch fish one by one, and he's thinking, man, this is slow. And then he has an idea. What if he built a net? So he decides to invest his time. He gives up a day of catching fish or gathering coconuts, and instead he uses those precious hours to build this new tool. It's a classic short-term sacrifice for a massive long-term gain. It's a real technological breakthrough for him. And just look at the difference that one idea makes. Let's imagine he gets inspired and builds a ladder for the coconuts too. All of a sudden, in that same single hour, he can now catch 4 fish instead of just 2, and he can grab 7 coconuts instead of 5. Wow, his productivity has just exploded for both jobs. So with this one little innovation, a whole new world of possibilities just opened up for Danny. Seriously, this isn't just a tiny improvement we're talking about. This is a complete game changer for his entire island economy. Think about it. With that new net, but still working the same 10 hours, his maximum fish catch for the day literally doubles. It goes from 20 all the way up to 40. That's incredible. And the coconuts, same story. With that ladder, his potential haul jumps from 50 all the way to 70. His whole ability to produce anything has just gotten a massive boost. You see that? That outward shift of his entire boundary, that is what economists mean when they talk about economic growth. It's not magic. It's just using technology and new ideas to get more stuff out of the same resources. Danny's entire island is now more productive. He can have more fish and more coconuts than he ever could before. But, and this is a really big but, here's the twist. Even though he's richer, even though he has better tools and more options, one fundamental rule of the game has not changed one bit. He still can't have everything. He still has to choose. Okay, let's hit rewind for a second. Let's go back to before he invented the net and the ladder. Imagine he's found a pretty good rhythm, right? He splits his day perfectly to get 10 fish and 25 coconuts. He's efficient. But then he decides he wants just 5 more coconuts. Sounds simple enough. But what's the real cost of that decision? Well, let's do the math. To get 5 more coconuts, he needs to spend 1 more hour gathering them. Remember, he gets 5 per hour. But where does that hour come from? It's not free. It has to be taken from his fishing time. And 1 less hour fishing means he catches 2 fewer fish. So there it is. The price of 5 coconuts is 2 fish. This little example is the perfect illustration of that big rule we talked about. You've probably heard the saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, it's true, even on a tropical island.
Every single time you gain something, you have to give something else up.
And that sacrifice, those two fish he had to give up, that has a very specific name in economics. It's called the opportunity cost. It's simply the value of whatever you had to pass up to get the thing you chose. So the real cost of those coconuts wasn't money. It was the fish he couldn't have.
Okay, so at this point, you might be thinking, cool story about Danny, but so what? What does this have to do with my life? The answer is everything. Danny's dilemma is your dilemma. It's my dilemma. It's something we all face every single day.
Think about it. Your limited resources are your time and your money. Every hour you choose to spend studying for an exam is an hour you can't spend hanging out with your friends. The money you drop on a new phone, that's money you can no longer save for a big trip. We are all Danny, constantly making these trade-offs. And this idea doesn't just apply to us as individuals. It scales up to, well, everything. A government has to decide, do we put this year's budget into better healthcare or into new infrastructure? A company has to choose, do we spend millions on marketing our current product, or do we invest that in R&D for the next big thing? From a single person to an entire nation, we all have limits. We all have to set priority. So when you boil it all down, here is the big takeaway. Our resources, time, money, attention, they're all limited. And because of that, we are forced to make choices. That's really all economics is when you get right down to it. It's the study of how we make those choices. And understanding these ideas, like trade-offs and opportunity cost, is the absolute first step to making smarter ones. So the world is just full of these trade-offs. Every decision, from what you're going to do this afternoon to what an entire country decides to build, it's all a choice with a cost. Now, the good news is, like Danny, we can innovate. We can push our boundaries out and create more possibilities for ourselves. But we can never, ever escape the fundamental need to choose. And really thinking about that hidden price, that opportunity cost, well, it doesn't just make you smarter about economics. It helps you make more conscious choices about everything.